Welcome to the View from the East, an unofficial Leyton Orient podcast. This is episode 20, Hope, Hype and Oxford Ahead. My name's Rob Bennett, and once again I'm joined by my slightly older brother, Eddie B. Eddie, how are we doing?
Yeah, hi all. I hope you're all well. I hope you've all had a good week, and looking forward to this one, Rob. We've got a few good topics we want to talk about. So where should we start?
So on the menu this week, there are a few things to go through. New signing Somto Boniface, Swindon pre-season defeat, East Stand sponsorship update, Friday's kit launch at Big Penny Social, new signing Tariq Sadi, the home friendly against Royal Antwerp, and we'll also do a Oxford preview ahead of the game on Saturday in the Carabao Cup. So, Ed, quite a busy week, lots of little bits and pieces going on. Maybe not the major signing people have been hoping for. But on Tuesday, ahead of the away pre-season at Swindon, there was an announcement that they've signed on loan Somto Boniface from Ipswich, who's a 20-year-old left or right back. So, again, there wasn't anything on socials about this. Seems to have come out from nowhere. You've once again opened your little black book, and one of your contacts has given you a bit of information. He's a former Chelsea sort of academy product, isn't he? Who was on the books now at Ipswich.
Yeah, that's right. I think Ipswich, by the looks of it, have got high hopes for him, and as like a lot of these Premiership teams do now. Instead of him playing for the reserves this year or Premier League 2, they decided to put him out on loan to Leyton Orient. Obviously, we've got a good track record with some of our loan players over the last couple of years. So it looks like, I think they've sent him out here to sort of like build him up this season. Hopefully, he may be able to push for a first team slot. Looks as if he can play left-sided and right-sided as well. Obviously I've asked a couple of favours, and got a few notes here. We've checked his strengths, what's come back. The number one is his explosive athleticism. So he's quick and capable of beating opponents. Attacking output as well, that's come high up on his list of traits. He progresses the ball aggressively. Delivers attacking support from wide areas and looks to create chances rather than simply recycling possession. So obviously what Richie Wellens is looking for, I have a feeling perhaps this year is for Ipswich to see him play in the man's game, and for Orient to sort of like, take him up another level, and then hopefully push for a position in the starting 11. Perhaps, definitely in the cup games, I think he's going to start, and then probably push for a position in the League 11 if he carries on playing as well as what people think he is as good as. So it's always interesting when I look at the overall grades from the scouting reports. He's got an 8 out of 10. So it looks exactly the type of loan signing we've targeted successfully in recent years. Young, athletic, technically polished, and hungry for first team football. So it looks like it could be a good one, Rob.
We picked up on last week the recovery pace of Joseph Lowu. So it mentions that in the scouting report as well, doesn't it, about this guy in terms of, and Richie said that he's a speedster. So sometimes we lack a bit of pace, don't we, going forward? So if he can do that on the left wing, then that's ideal. We mentioned in episode 17, so a few episodes back, about what we needed, and we said we probably needed that cover on the left side. And I thought, they'd just get a youngster who maybe would just play the cup games. But from what I saw, and people have spoken about the Swindon game when he done some minutes there, he looks like he could potentially challenge Morris, at least keeping him on his toes in terms of sort of he can't just rest on his laurels about having a starting berth all the time, which is a good thing, isn't it? And also, I picked up on a few things from the game against Antwerp. He is a good player. He's very good going forward. But I thought what he must look to do is don't try and overplay it too early, like trying to impress the manager. Just do what you do well. Because there was a couple of times where he just got caught in possession, or sort of they was playing quite a high press at times. Antwerp, he just got caught out a couple of times. I thought, I'll just keep it simple if you can, sort of while you're bedding yourself in. And then the rest will come, won't it, over time?
His benefit, Rob, he's probably only had 2 or 3 training sessions so far, isn't he, under Richie? So hopefully that's something they'll work on the training field and get that embedded into him. But, because a similar issue with Teo last year, wasn't it? Was it from Palace? Explosive pace, but just couldn't defend. And just couldn't,
it's dreadful, wasn't it?
Got caught out. Just got caught out so many times, like, opposition doing a quick free kick or a quick throw in. We got caught out a number of times down that left flank when he was covering for us last year. Crucial, when we may have been 1-0 up or something like that. And that 10 seconds lapse, resulted in a 3 points into a draw. So hopefully this guy's going to be a little bit stronger in those areas this year.
Yeah, I mean, it will be a thing. I think with Teo, he just got, like you said, he caught out position too often, didn't he? Sometimes I don't think he knew where he was meant to be. And it could be hopefully something that we improve on with this guy. But one, he's not really got professional game experience, is he, in terms of Championship, League One or League Two. He's only played Premiership 2. I say only. Obviously, that still can be quite a good level. And I dare say he'll need to get used to the physicality of League One, but he'll have to learn on the job, wouldn't he, if he's put in, say, to the league games at any point, in terms of just got to stand up for yourself, really. Yeah,
exactly. We can only hope that it, sort of like it turns out well, and we get a good season out of him, hopefully.
Ed, we'll briefly talk about last Tuesday's away defeat to Swindon. They went 2-0 up. We pulled one back through Theo Archibald. I've said it before, I don't get too up or down with pre-seasons, because that's all our always walkthroughs, isn't it, really? Just trying to sort of get some minutes into the legs. Richie said something that I hadn't heard before. Where it says some of the older players just don't like playing pre-season games. I've never heard someone admit that before.
I suppose I suppose the first 11 don't want to get the first teamers. They don't want to get injured, do they? And perhaps sometimes, if they're settled in a club, they feel as if they haven't got anything to prove, where the new players who have just joined the team or the youngsters who have come from the youth team feel as if they've got to show a little bit more. I think you're right. I don't think you can look too much at the results of these games. It's just, are they all match fit, ready, and listening to the manager's instructions before the season starts?
Yeah. So you mentioned a couple of other things, and one, he almost left them to it in terms of trying to work it out themselves, which I guess you have to do. He has got experienced pros on the pitch. I think that he said he made changes 5 minutes into the second half, which changed things instantly, and we dominated the game. Obviously, Richie has got that thing about once he makes a decision, then sort of instantly we're much, much better. But he also mentioned something that we spoke about last. Yeah, obviously. We mentioned last week about looking at a strike, and at the very least, they've got to try and get one. Now, he mentioned last Tuesday after the Swindon game, that is something they're trying to do. He had a discussion, didn't he, with Nigel? Would they be very bold and go and get two? Would they be a halfway house and try and get one? Would they try and see what happens and sort of with Ballard and sort of sit on their hands, I suppose? At the moment, we seem to be in between sitting on our hands and trying to get one. I think there was a bit of a disappointment, wasn't there, Friday, that there wasn't sort of like an announcement of a player at the kit launch. But from what he said since after the Antwerp game, it looks like they put a bid in for someone, but then they're asking for more money.
Well, I suppose if you're on the other side of the fence, you know that potentially we may come into money soon. So if a player, or it probably think they're worth, say, 200,000, and the other team are probably looking for £1 million. I'm just using that as an example. Whereas
sure,
if there wasn't the issue with Ballard, you may have been able to get them for £300,000 or £400,000. So, obviously the other teams are going to. That's my worry, is if it goes right to the last minute, the other teams on the other side of the trade are going to know we've got money and just going to double the price they want.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll fall into place. As I said, it's still probably work in progress, isn't it? Their list of players they must be talking to, they're connected everywhere, aren't they? So Scott Mitchell's probably a very busy person at the moment as well, but I'm sure we'll get someone in. It's just frustrating. We'll talk about Antwerp in a minute, but with not having a striker on the pitch to start with, it's sort of what are our options if not? But we'll talk about that in a moment. Ed, a bit of news on Thursday. This come out of the blue and didn't help me because I've just done a load of merchandise for the podcast. All of a sudden, they've announced a new sponsorship of the East Stand, which is no longer called the East Stand. It is now the Bullion House East Stand. A bit of a mouthful. It's all money, isn't it? But just another change to get used to.
Yeah, I think all the other stands have got some sort of sponsorship. So yeah, it makes sense that, and you're right. The money gets recycled back into the team, which means you can invest that money into the first team squad. But yeah, I don't know whether that means they're going to put some. I imagine it'll be plastered with their name all over the East Stand, Rob, when we turn up for the first game.
We've mentioned this before, and we've mentioned it earlier in earlier podcasts. There's opportunities galore for sponsorship, and I'm sure it's like if you're in a sales office, like you have your targets up on the board in terms of if you've got this, you go guaranteed like a nice little bonus for yourself. We've said it before. I'll say it again. There's the opportunity to sponsor the toilet blocks. I don't know why they're not doing it.
No, as far as I know, there's no sponsorship on that, Rob. So I presume it's just a matter of time, Rob. They're probably whittling down the last two or three that are appropriate standing for that sort of area of the stand.
And obviously, you could have a different sponsor, couldn't you, for each side of the ground? I've looked at locally for a couple of options for Leyton Orient. Get your ears pinged back, Leyton Orient. So 1 and 2 solutions that could work, couldn't it?
That would fit in perfectly.
Royal Flush Enterprises covers a lot of bases, and it's got that nice little royal touch to it. Possibly my favourite that I've found, Splashback Technologies. It's perfect, isn't it?
Now you're talking about this, they're probably searching for it and say, is there any interest? Do you want to sponsor our toilets? As I told you, Rob, it's just a matter of time. I reckon when we turn up for the first game, there's going to be a to let sign, or available for sponsorship.
Yeah. I mean, it's there. It's probably obviously one of the most popular venues that everyone visits during the game. So, you get a bit of sponsorship on it. Splashback Technologies are your new sponsor for the Bullion House East Stand toilet blocks. Perfect. That rolls off the tongue. Right, Ed, let's one of the main events of the week. We've spoken a lot about it in the last few weeks. They've done the kit launch at Big Penny Social. We was there from about 5 o'clock because we was up in Flukes. But quite a good event, Ed, overall, wasn't it? It's well turned out.
Yeah, although it's probably not too far from where I actually live. I'd never been there before, but I was quite surprised by one, the size of it. It was a massive place. So we went upstairs. We had an hour playing pool upstairs, which was good. And then by the time we came down to about 6:30ish, things was just starting to kick off, wasn't they? So, and I thought it was a good turnout as well, Rob. Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, definitely. Before we go into the main crux of it, let's talk about Paul, Ed. Disappointment for you, 4-2 up, lost 7-5 to me. I'd imagine if we spoke to Richie Wellen, he'd be questioning your game management skills. You should have wrapped that up quite easily.
So I should have finished you off, Rob. I'm disappointed about myself more than anything. Yeah, I can't believe I've let that lead slip. But Leyton Orient, isn't it? Let a lead slip.
Yeah. I'd imagine you'd probably be on the transfer list with Backinson if Wellens finds out about that. Whereas with me, it'd just be commenting on my never say die attitude. I'll probably be doing like a team talk in the first team dressing room if needs must later in the year. But that was good up there. I highly recommend it. It was a nice chilled atmosphere, wasn't it? There's some Orient fans playing. The interactive darts, they looked like they was having fun. A few people in the karaoke booths and all that, but it's nice staff up there. You couldn't ask for anything more. I thought it was really good.
No, we got looked after really well up there, Rob. I really enjoyed it. And then obviously we went downstairs for the big bash, if you want to call it.
Yeah, so let's talk about the actual kit launch itself. So a lot of people there, weren't there, in terms of it's like a little warehouse where they had the stage and stuff like that for the launch. I think it was Ollie Buck from Orient Live who come out and done the presentation for it. Possibly the hottest warehouse I've been in. There's like a Swedish sauna, wasn't it, in there? But overall, when you saw the kit itself, what was your first impression?
I think the first impression is when I saw the video come up and, you realise it was braces. I thought, haven't put too much effort into that, have they? And I think as someone's like pointed out, it looks pretty much like the kit from 2 years ago, but with the stripes down the shorts. I just thought, so there's been a lot about this over the last sort of 6 months. I just thought it might have been something a little bit different, but obviously there's lots of people who do like the braces. I know my own personal view. I think we've gone overboard on the braces over the last, sort of like dozen years or so, like whether that be away kits or home kit the year before last. I just thought they might have gone with something different, but people seem to be happy with it, Rob. So, and you know what? It's only a kit, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's one of those, if it hadn't been 2 years ago that we had the braces, and it might have been more initially sort of, everyone would have been up sort of overjoyed with it, but we've had it quite recently as well. I'm personally not a braces person. It's slightly before my time. Obviously when they had the FA Cup run and stuff like that back in the late 70s. So, yeah, but then when I watched them playing against Royal Antwerp, it looks good on the pitch. I know that sounds silly, but, it looks quite smart. People are moaning about the stripes on the shorts, but then I thought, how many people buy a pair of shorts? Not many, do they? So you're not going to be walking down the high street in them. So sort of that can soon be sort of put to one side. And at the end of the day, if the team are playing well and we have a good season, then people are going to love the kit. If we're struggling, it's like anything, then it's just another excuse to moan about something, isn't it? In terms of sort of, you've got to blame something. But I'm sure Mabel will sort of take things on board, wouldn't they? And they've already said, I think a month ago when they've done one of the Big Penny Social sort of previews or hype interviews with Mabel, it's like we're already working on next year's sort of, and it's going to be sort of something a bit different. So they'll feedback on it, wouldn't they, and work off that. But yeah, once I saw it on the pitch, it looks a lot better when it was in action, so to speak.
Yeah, well, look, they're going to sell that. I mean, the people who probably buy the kits mostly are kids and people buying them for their dads or granddads, etc., etc. So they've probably got a set amount they're looking forward to sell. And you're right, by all accounts, I think if they do sell out of the first batch, there's more chance of them getting some more out this season with their relationship with Mabel opposed to when it was with Puma. I can understand that. Puma is such a big company, they're not just going to print another 1,000 shirts for Leyton Orient. But it looks as if Mabel probably would.
I know it's on Mabel's website because they sell the kits through there as well in terms of internationally, I suppose. And the away kit for Orient on the Mabel website had sold out. So that's a good sign, isn't it? I'm not saying the club stocks have sold out, but on their website, they've sold their allocation of it, which I guess anywhere around the world could be buying those shirts. So that's a good thing. What did you think of the people who come out? I couldn't, from where I was, I couldn't hear the interview. So Aaron Connolly come out, didn't he? El Miz, and I think it was Finn Stevens, plus some of, I presume, was that the ladies' team that came out? Because I couldn't hear on the microphone what was being said.
I presume it was the members of the ladies' football team, unless there were people working behind the bar and they just had a couple of spare tops there to put them in. But yeah, you're right. I couldn't hear much, Rob. I think it's one of those things you had to go back when you got home just to listen to what was said. But they all looked very smart, didn't they, when they turned up?
Yeah. I think, I mean, as I said, before we come on out, I think later in the night, the players are up in flukes. I know they've done a lot of like meet and greet downstairs and stuff like that, but it was almost like another chance for them just to let their hair down a bit. I'm not saying having pints and stuff like that, but playing pool, darts is another bit of team bonding, isn't it? A few fans saying hello and stuff like that, so that's good. As I said, I think I spoke to Mark Devlin before the event got going properly, just when we got into like that main hall bit, and I said, sort of, I would do this again next year. And he said they're probably looking at doing it. What he said was, I suppose they've done this instead of doing he likes doing the family day in terms of everyone at the ground getting autographs and stuff like that, which hasn't gone ahead this year. Partly, I think, because of they was looking to get Spurs in for the Justin Edinburgh Trophy at home. But he said Spurs wasn't playing ball on that. They was dragging their feet. Southend came in to replace that fixture, but we had to play it at their gaff. That's why we ended up getting Royal Antwerp in at not last minute, but sort of with them already playing on the Saturday as well. So they had to play around with that a bit. But definitely, if I was looking forward, all they've got to do is just improve just the audio, so you can hear that everything at the back of the hall if needed, because I couldn't hear a thing, and we weren't that far away from the stage, were we? It was possibly the hottest. That part was probably the hottest place I've been for ages, bearing in mind how warm it's been this summer. I just couldn't stand in there for too long. And they were lucky that they've got such a big outdoor space that most people, I think, just went for a drink, didn't they, after the initial kit came out?
No, because I think sort of like when you first actually go into that, the building itself, it's like I thought that was where it was going to be. It's like a big sort of like, you imagine a warehouse with bars and tables. And the DJ playing as well, but it was actually just off that, wasn't it? It was like to the right hand side in another separate bit of the warehouse. So we've gone from cool to absolutely boiling hot where the actual kit launch was. But I suppose, look, they're looking for feedback. If it was going to say they possibly might look at next year or for something else, they're probably looking for feedback, and I'm sure people will. Tell them what the good points and the bad points.
I can give a couple of bits of feedback. Now, I'm going to email them because, like I said, it's not criticism, it's just little things they can improve on.
We sort of mentioned this before, that might be something that they move towards Leyton when we do eventually find a new ground, or if there's a big warehouse near Leyton somewhere, that they could sort of like replicate that even before the new ground's built, because I think you'd probably get 1,000 people in there, if not more, spending their money, buying something to eat, being able to buy some merch, and then go to the game. Yeah,
it's as I said, once they'd done that, the kit part, I just needed to get outside, so we didn't really see like the merch shop or anything like that. Because we left about 10 o'clock, I think, because obviously you had a due to go to the next day. So it's disappointing. It was just too hot. I just didn't want to go back into the building, really. Couple of quick points, Ed. We had local today. We basically lived off Blackwell's Road, didn't we, when we was growing up? And I think a lot of people went to the event in Orient kits, didn't they, or colours. I don't think I've ever seen that amount of Orient in Walthamstow, if you know what I mean. Obviously, we're used to it near Leyton, aren't we, round the ground. But in that part of the borough, I've never seen so many Orient fans in one space, which is a good thing, isn't it? Because if people are driving past, they see a lot of Orient and this, that and the other. Could be, I don't know, young families who are local. It's another way, isn't it? Just, I hate to say this word, get the brand recognised a bit further out than Leyton, I suppose.
Well, I suppose they always keep on talking about Waltham Forest, the borough. So, yeah, why just keep it in Leyton? We could go out to Chinkford, Walthamstow, Leytonstone. Why not use all these areas and get the clubs, get the club out there to attract some more people, because you need more people. And if we are looking at moving to a bigger stadium, we need as many fans as possible.
Yeah. Ed, going back to the video launch and the pictures they've done as well for the advertising and stuff like that, did you recognise any of those, what were supposed to be everyday Orient fans? Did you recognise any of those?
No, I didn't recognise any of those people who, not that they sit around us, so they're all new faces to me, but they all looked as if they was having a lovely time, didn't they?
Yeah, it's a very brave gentleman in cream trousers. And I thought, that is a brave look, but, he rocked it. So, good luck to him.
I wonder whether they may have put them on him when he turned up. They may have had a set of clothes that just no, but they may have done, mayn't they? They may have had like some more fashionable clothes that look hip and trendy to go with the kit, and they may have sort of said, "Look, I think you'd look good in these big white clown pants." Just a thought.
Yeah. Possibly, yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing him at the Oxford game, Ed, when he taps you on the shoulder. He was quite a big fella. Just to wrap it up then, they mentioned when they come on stage that the third kit's due to be launched as well, isn't it, sometime soon? Maybe that'll be the one where it's a bit more different, I suppose, sort of maybe a bit more out there. But they always say, don't they, the football kits themselves now are meant to be a fashion item. So they're not just selling them in terms of, oh, they've got to look good on the pitch. It's just so you can wear them out, this, that, and the other. I think that's one of their selling points. So I'd be interested to see what that's like. Ed, we had a bit of, I don't know if we had two guests with us, didn't we? We had our cousin and her other half. All of a sudden, they're on sort of Orient socials later in the evening because they brought their two dogs with them. So, and they look quite hip, so they should be in the advertising campaign for next year. But they've ended up all over Orient social media. We've been going there for almost over 40 years. We haven't ended up like that.
Again, Rob, it may be your professional looks again. Perhaps perhaps you may have been too good for them. And no, but it's nice, isn't it, when people who have never been to Orient turn up and get their picture plastered all over the social medias. But they had a good time as well. They brought their two dogs along as well, didn't they? So, what a lovely sight.
To be fair to our cousin, obviously old man, he was an Orient fan, wasn't he? So I'll give her that. Her other half, mind you, he's a hardcore French Arsenal fan, isn't he? So, yeah, thanks, Orient, for plastering him all over your socials. Yeah, good. A good night, though, Ed. I hope they do something similar next year. Maybe it'll be in like I said, maybe they'll move further out to Chimford, or they can find a venue, maybe Leyton, sort of big enough to hold it. But if they do something like that, it gets everyone together, doesn't it, pre-season? I managed to meet a couple of people that I've made friends with recently for other things for Orient, so it's good to check in on those. So yeah, good night overall. Sort of, if they can do that again, I'd be up for it.
Yeah, and I think the main thing as well to say, it was nice to see it was a mixture of all different ages. So there were a lot of kids there, up to people in the later stages of life. But it was just nice to see a real big mixture of Leyton Orient fans. So no, I enjoyed it, and I'm sure if the club think it's a success, they'll try and replicate that in some way next season.
Okay, let's move on. Very briefly, we'll talk about another new signing. Now, this is Tariq Sadi, 20-year-old left-sided forward. He's been, people would have seen him on all sorts of pre-season photos and videos in the background. He's played a couple of the pre-season games as well. It looks like they've just signed him on a very short-term deal up until February, looking to ship him out on loan almost straight away while they sort out his sort of work permit. Ed, you've looked in your little black book for scouting reports for him. You haven't come up with anything, have you?
No, there's nothing there. I know no more than anyone else would. Googling his name looks as if is he Oman International? He's come through there. I think he's been to a different. He may have trained with Orient when he was very young, reading into some bits, and then has tried his luck possibly in Spain, I believe, and has obviously come back to Orient perhaps just to train or for us to see how he's progressing, and decided to take a gamble. Yeah, it's not too much. Like, if it doesn't work out, we've only contracted him till January, February. But if it does work out, it may be it may be a potential good signing. Who knows? But yeah, I've got no more information on him.
It's a strange one, isn't it? I mean, hopefully it works out for him. Obviously, forward department, we are short. But it doesn't look like he's going to be anywhere near the first team in the short term anyway. But interestingly, his kit is available for sponsorship if you contact the commercial team at Leyton Orient. So obviously they pushed that forward as well in terms of getting money in. But yeah, good luck to you. I suppose he might get a nice loan to National League or something like that and get some games. Ed, let's move on to probably the main thing this week, apart from the kit launch. friendly against Royal Antwerp at home on Sunday. They'd previously played Millwall and lost 1-0 the day before. But I watched it. It's quite an entertaining game. I really enjoyed that 90 minutes of football.
Yeah, it looks as if they actually played really well. And I think, from the commentary and from the bits I've read about it, it looks as if we actually put on a decent display. And I think it wasn't their reserves in the end, was it? I think there were a lot of first teamers from Antwerp who may have played some minutes in the previous game on Saturday. And yeah, I suppose at the end of the day, they're a Belgian Premier League team, aren't they? So it's probably one of the tougher tests they've had in pre-season. But it looks like some of the players gelled well and obviously got the right result at the end of the day.
I think Dave Victor mentioned it on his commentary. So you'd expect that they would, like you mentioned, they're just a reserved side or the kids playing basically for all Antwerp. What he said was basically they're set up so they have a bit like we did a few years ago, really. You've got your handful of experienced pros like early 30s, late 20s, but then they are as a club set up for sort of mid to early 20s, maybe some teenagers coming through as well. The crux of their squad is all within that age range. So it wouldn't have mattered if you was watching them against Millwall or us. You'd have probably got the same sort of mixture in terms of a little bit of experience, but mainly younger players who are trying to make a name for themselves in the Belgium league. I thought that was really good. It's very end to end. They put a press on us. Entertaining game with, I suppose, the last few months at Orient at the end of last season, it wasn't great to watch, was it, Ed, in terms of entertainment, really? But it was good to see they put us under pressure, and then we had to go back at them. So people were able to show what they brought to the club. Dobra was happy to go past people. Boniface created a chance for himself in the first half as well. I tell you what I did notice with Youssef, very left-footed, Ed. He doesn't want to get it on his right foot at all. He had the chance in that first half. He could have just let the ball roll onto his right and at least give it a go, but he had to put it back on his left. So that's something that hopefully he develops over the season in terms of confidence on his right. And also one of the main talking points, obviously, Don Ballard wasn't playing, although he was on the bench. And it looks like Theo Archibald might be leading the line against Oxford.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me with Theo. I mean, the players that could possibly play in that position, and he's got the strength as well, Rob, isn't he, to sort of like hold off the defenders and or make some room for himself. Hopefully, Ballard was just a knock and nothing too serious. You don't want to risk him in a friendly game if you don't need to. Then I suppose it all leads up to the Oxford game now. Whether he plays would you expect him to play his first 11, or do you think he might hold anyone back? I mean, it's a cup competition.
We'll come on to it when we talk Oxford. At present, I would play the strongest team I could. In terms of, like you said, it is a live fixture, so to speak, isn't it? And I think remember when we did get to the playoffs a couple of years ago, we done well in the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, because it meant you could switch the side out in terms of giving people, like at the time, Dan Ajayi came back into the squad, I think for the Millwall game when we beat them, got a bit of confidence with the winning goal in that game. Charlie Kelman in the it would be EFL Trophy. He played really well. He was struggling for goals, then played really well against Charlton, got a goal off a defender's arse that then managed to put him into a rich vein of form for the rest of the season. So it's just good to have live games, whether it doesn't matter what competition it is, to give your squad a proper run out. As I said, for Saturday, I would probably be looking at, if I could, playing the strongest team I could, just so it's that game time together on the pitch, and especially in that front part of the team. They haven't played that many games together, have they? So it's those, I suppose, for the players, it's knowing when someone's going to run, that trigger movement, so you know when to pass, that sort of stuff. So you would want them to, I think, just have as many opportunities as possible to work on that before the first league game against Sheffield Wednesday.
No, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens between now and Saturday, or whether that's it, or whether we just wait out now. Obviously, there is still another 3 weeks of the transfer window left still open, isn't there? So before we forget, Rob, we must commentate on Antwerp's away crowd yesterday. Bit loud.
A bit loud is one of the reasons I didn't. We spoke about this probably about a month, 5 weeks ago. So one of the reasons I didn't go to this game was, one, because I was playing Millwall the day before, and you don't know what team they're going to put out. But also, Antwerp do have quite a reputation for their fan base in terms of the amount they bring. A small element that maybe are a bit more vocal than the rest of the fan base. But they look like they had a lot of fun. A lot of them all seem to be already maybe enjoyed a few Stellas sort of before the game kicked off. Maybe they were in Coronation Park sort of enjoying the sun, but...
Been all out Saturday, haven't they? They've probably gone to central London and then, probably stayed up and then come straight to Leyton on Sunday morning. Did you see that clip of the Antwerp fan on the Leyton Orient wheelie bin outside the ground?
Yes, he was on the wheelie bin and then he was in the wheelie bin, wasn't he, after it hit the curb? I'd imagine that will probably be going viral for quite a few years. He'll probably be very famous in Belgium. Mind you, that's probably not difficult, is it? But they look like they had a lot of fun. I mean, they banged out the North Stand, didn't they? What's that hold? About 1,500, maybe 1,000? I don't know. But
sounds
and it
about
brought
right.
atmosphere to it. We'll come to Richard's interview in a minute, but he on the club one, it was good to see. And this is Richie as a football fan, not as a manager coming out, where he was just laughing at them sort of nicking English terrace songs and changing them to their own language, so singing them in Flemish, I guess. And so he was laughing at that and stuff. So that's really good to see. And so they brought a bit of atmosphere. Ed, we've been to pre-seasons where it's sort of the away team bring, like, it's one man and their dog, isn't it? So, it probably added to the game. In effect, it was a good game as well. So, obviously, what was interesting, Joseph Aluwu, so he made a mistake against Swindon, and then he made a couple of errors against Antwerp as well. And obviously, he was unlucky. He got the deflection for their goal. And I thought, I hope you're getting that out of your system now before the season starts, which is part of what pre-season's about, isn't it? In terms of getting those errors sort of out of the way. So hopefully by the time he either plays Oxford or Sheffield Wednesday, that's all gone. And he's just like in full concentration mode. But as I said, that's what these games are for, isn't it? Just get the cobwebs blown away and sort of just get into your stride. But there was good signs there, Ed. Zekabirio played really well. It looked like they played just Hayden in front of the back four because El Miz was getting forward quite a lot and Birio was all over the park in terms of sort of on the ball and trying to stretch their midfield and defence. So that looked really encouraging.
Well, so we missed that last season, didn't we? Because there was no one else really to help El Miz. He was doing everything, wasn't he? Winning the ball back, trying to lay it off, instead of him having a chance to sort of like surge forward and find space. So perhaps playing that sort of in front of the back four just frees him up a little bit. And it'd be great to see a Birio. You know, we've seen flashes of it sometimes over the last 2 or 3 years, but to get a consistent run, there is a good player there. It's just, unfortunately, we haven't seen it over a long period. I think the big difference from last couple of beginnings of the last few seasons as well, we've never really been fully confident in the goalkeeper. And from what I've seen from Baxter, he just looks as if he brings that little bit more dominance at the back, a little bit more understanding. And I think that's probably, to me, one of the major differences at the beginning of this season compared to, say, the last 2 or 3 seasons where we've had new goalkeepers coming in. We're a bit unsure of how they were going to react.
Yeah, it's he's good size as well, isn't he? A bit like Les Dennis at the back end of last season. He feels the goal. So that's good. You're right. It's, if it gives us a bit of confidence in terms of that's one less thing we've got to worry about, then that's a good thing. Ed, even Demi Mitchell made a good cameo at the end. Basically set up 2 goals, didn't he? El Miz sort of, I won't say nicked a goal off of him, but done a nice bit of skill to sort of almost backheel it in for the first goal. And then Charlie Wellens caught one on the volley after Mitchell, which we very rarely see now, took someone to the byline, crossed it over straight away, and sort of Charlie Wellens was bang on the end of it for 2-1. So a good victory. It was a good team, Ed. I'd watch that game again, to be fair. I thought it was really entertaining.
Yeah, well, but that's what you want to get from a pre-season friendly as well. We're right near the end of it now, aren't we? So you're seeing the nucleus of the first 11 team come together and have a feel for how they're going to look going forward. So from what you said, Rob, it sounds quite positive.
Yeah. A couple of things, Ed. You picked up on this a few weeks ago. You said, I wonder if Isaac Hayden will be captain. And lo and behold, he has been named club captain or first team squad captain for games. You picked up on that. Richie's confirmed it due to his experience, the sort of Premiership experience that he brings. He's probably a good talker, isn't he, on pitch as well. And it looks like the line of command now is Hayden, El Miz, and then whoever you want after that. So
I felt a little bit sorry for Forrester last year. I mean, we obviously got him in to keep us up, which we did, but then also giving him the club captaincy as well. It seemed a lot of pressure on someone who'd only been in the club, a couple of weeks, literally, hadn't it? And obviously Hayden comes in with a little bit more experience. You're right, he probably can manage the game better, and that'll give the other players more time just to concentrate on their game. So I think it's a good decision. As we said before, very much like when Pratley came to Orient around sort of 5 years ago, he was instantly made captain just because he's got that more experience on the pitch, and he can probably see the whole game going around him.
Yeah. Also, Ed, I watched the game on stream. As I said, Aaron Connolly was on comms on that with Dave Victor. Excellent, Ed. He's such a good talker. He's got that gift of the gab anyway, isn't he? But in terms of, say like we were speaking about Zaccaberio, Aaron Connolly would say, yeah, he's one of the most skillful people here. He just needs to concentrate now on showing that within a live game or a first team game when he gets the opportunity. So it's that he was not shy in telling you all about sort of the squad, this, that and the other. When he was talking about Theo up front, he says, yeah, he can probably do that job if given it. He's not forward, but he'll do it because he's so physical anyway. He's going to be a handful for any central defender in terms of coming up against him. The only thing I was surprised that he didn't say some way through the interview was just to remind Dave Victor that, by the way, I am still the best player at this club. So you should have said that because he is so honest.
I'm sure he probably mentioned it before they went on air. But no, isn't it good to have sometimes a player doing sort of like a current player as well who knows the team, he knows the player's strengths and weaknesses, and it just gives you a completely different insight to the game, or more of an insight to the game actually. What's going on? I don't know whether that, I think he did say his recovery is ahead of schedule, isn't it? So possibly end of September, October. We were, because originally people were talking about January. It might be, but it just gives you a bit of more of an insight, I think, of what's going on.
I think after a World Cup of Sam Matterface and Lee Dixon talking to you for 90 minutes, then it was very refreshing. The update on his injury, I wonder if the club have thought, I wish I hadn't have said that. Like, did they want that information out? But as I said, he's honest as the day's long, I think, in terms of he's not shy about telling you sort of what his recovery is like or this, that and the other. What that is good for us, though, Ed, because say he'd come back after Christmas, then you've got all that thing about, well, what do you do in terms of his contract? If he starts playing well, someone's going to come in for him, this, that and the other. At least it gives the club an opportunity, doesn't it, to see how he's playing before Christmas and potentially offer him a new contract because his contract runs out this year.
Yeah, I'm sure if we are at the right end of the table come January, then there may be negotiation talks going on if both sides can come together to extend his contract. These are the types of players we need, and we want to sort of take us up to the next level. And we don't want him. Yeah. I know we got him for a free, but we don't want to see him leaving for. We don't want another Dan Ajay again, do we? So it'll be hopefully there's something there they can sort out.
Yeah, I'll say again, he's such a good player, Ed, isn't he? He's probably, maybe because we didn't see him for the whole season, he's probably one of the best players we've had in, last 10 years?
Yeah, we've had that when he was on form in that September-October period last season. I don't think there was anyone who could touch him in that league.
No, definitely. Ed, let's wrap up. So we've got there's a pre-season, isn't there, tomorrow night against Waltham Abbey. I presume that is going to be your kids and those who need minutes in their legs. In Oxford, Ed, on Saturday, we'll do something that we hadn't had to do for a while. We're going to start what pub we're going to. Our first game of the season, we normally go to the Coppermill in Walthamstow, which is our old local. That used to be our Sunday local, didn't it, when we used to live down the road from there? So we're going to start the season off there?
I would have thought so, and it is the first home game. It might be harder finding a pub the following Saturday when Sheffield Wednesday come down, but I'm sure definitely. We're getting there early doors in the Cobmill, Rob. Is it last season we had to basically wake them up again to let us in at 12, so I presume we'll do that, and then we could walk up to and get a bus to the ground.
It's worth mentioning as well, isn't it? When we play Oxford on Saturday, West Ham are at home at the same time against Portsmouth. So being what I would say the Walthamstow side of the Leyton Orient ground probably works out better for us on that day in terms of getting a pint. Ed, in terms of, we mentioned, I said possibly they'll play their strongest team possible. Maybe you never know with one or two new signings. You never know if they come in. What do you think they're going to do?
I think it's going to be strongest 11. I think Ballard will start as well if he's fit, because he wants to. And again, you're playing against League One opposition as well, so it's a good test for us just to see how the season could potentially pan out and getting all these players together. I think the more minutes the first 11 can get playing all together, the better. So the EFL trophy, I can understand you playing a reserve team, but because this game is before the season starts, it makes sense that this should be used as a proper game.
It'll be interesting to see what sort of what team Oxford put out, because obviously they're a team in turmoil. They've got is it a transfer embargo on them at the moment? I don't think they can sign anyone.
Yeah, I still think that's ongoing. Yeah,
but I presume that although they've lost players, and I presume their squad's still quite strong. I've had a look at their last 4 pre-seasons. They've won all of them.
It's still packed full of championship players. So compared their team to our team, their team is stronger if you're looking at what experience-wise. So I think again it should be a good game, 2 good teams hopefully, and it'd be a good test for us to get ready for when the season properly kicks off a week later.
You got a score prediction, Ed?
2-1 to us.
To us, okay. I'm going to go 1-1. Does it go straight to penalties? There's no extra time, is there?
I think it does. I think it does now, doesn't it? Yeah, straight to penalties. So
I'll go 1-1, and then we beat them on penalties. But it should be hopefully it'll be a good game. But it might be a good time to play them if you want to progress, if they're in a bit of turmoil. So
and it's also be interesting to see what sort of crowd they get down there on Saturday as well. Obviously, we're in the posh seats, aren't we? So looking forward to it.
It'll be very nice when to get a competitive game of football under the belt as the season starts in earnest. And then, all being well, we come away with a victory. So, Ed, I look forward to seeing you on Saturday and any other fans that are going to be there. I think the games you can pick up live on Sky Plus as well. I think they're showing them all on the streaming service. So, however you watch it on Saturday, good luck to the Orient, and up the O's.
Come on, you O's.